James Brolin, born Craig Kenneth Bruderlin on July 18, 1940, in Westwood Village, Los Angeles, California, is an American actor and director whose career spans decades of film and television. Known for his rugged good looks, commanding screen presence, and versatility, Brolin's path to fame was one shaped by perseverance, reinvention, and a deep-rooted passion for storytelling. James was born into a middle-class family. His father, Henry Bruderlin, was a building contractor, and his mother, Helen Sue, a housewife. From an early age, James displayed an interest in mechanics and animals, particularly model airplanes which he built and flew obsessively. But his life took a decisive turn in his teenage years when he became fascinated with movies. Inspired by the performances of James Dean, he began mimicking scenes in front of the mirror, slowly building an inner world where acting was not only a possibility but a calling. Despite being shy and introverted as a youth, Brolin's tall stature and deep voice made him a natural fit for the screen. After graduating from Santa Monica City College, he transferred to the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, but soon left to pursue acting full-time. In the early 1960s, he began studying at the renowned Stella Adler Academy, refining his craft while working small jobs to stay afloat. He also changed his name to James Brolin, a move that signaled his readiness to step into the professional world of acting. His early career was marked by bit parts and guest appearances on popular television shows such as The Alfred Hitchcock Hour and Bus Stop. Though these roles were small, they provided him with crucial experience and visibility. His big break came in 1969 when he landed the role of Dr. Stephen Kiley on the acclaimed medical drama Marcus Welby, M.D. Brolin's portrayal of the young, idealistic doctor earned him an Emmy Award in 1970 and a Golden Globe in 1971, catapulting him to national fame. While television gave him recognition, Brolin was determined to prove himself on the silver screen. In the 1970s, he began taking on more film roles, including Skyjacked, 1972, and Westworld, 1973, where he starred alongside Yul Brynner in a chilling tale of a futuristic theme park gone wrong. These roles showcased his ability to shift between genres, from action thrillers to science fiction, and solidified his status as a leading man. Despite his rising popularity, Brolin's journey was not without its setbacks. Several film projects failed to meet commercial expectations, and he found himself struggling to find roles that matched his evolving ambitions. Nevertheless, he persisted, returning to television with renewed vigor in the 1980s and 1990s, taking on parts in Hotel and Pensacola, Wings of Gold. His maturity as an actor was now evident in the gravitas and nuance he brought to each character. Brolin's entrepreneurial spirit also led him into directing and producing. He directed several episodes of Hotel and developed a keen eye for storytelling behind the camera. This period also marked a personal transformation, as he embraced more spiritual and introspective dimensions of life and career. His later film roles in projects such as Traffic, 2000, and Catch Me If You Can, 2002, displayed a more restrained, character-driven performance style that reflected his growth as an artist. One of the most defining personal milestones in Brolin's life came when he married legendary singer Barbra Streisand in 1998. Their relationship, marked by mutual respect and creative support, brought him into the orbit of a new generation of artists and fans. James Brolin's early career and rise to fame is a testament to resilience, adaptability, and the willingness to evolve. From a boy fascinated with flight and fantasy to a man who carved out a multifaceted legacy in Hollywood, his story is both uniquely American and universally inspiring. Through every transformation, whether in name, role, or ambition, Brolin exemplifies the enduring power of reinvention and the lifelong pursuit of purpose in art. The 1970s and early 1980s marked the true zenith of James Brolin's acting career, years in which he became a household name and solidified his position as a leading man in both television and film. These were not only the years of major awards and blockbuster roles, but also a period in which Brolin's talent, charisma, and unmistakable screen presence reached their full maturity. It was during this time that he moved from being a promising young actor to an established and respected figure in Hollywood. Following his Emmy and Golden Globe wins for Marcus Welby, MD, Brolin became one of television's most recognizable faces. The show's success opened doors to a variety of film offers, and Brolin, eager to expand his range, embraced the opportunity to transition to the big screen. His rugged good looks, deep voice, and natural magnetism made him a perfect fit for the gritty action and suspense genres that dominated 1970s cinema. One of the major highlights of this period was his performance in Westworld, 1973, a groundbreaking science fiction film directed by Michael Crichton. In the movie, Brolin played John Blaine, a confident vacationer visiting a high-tech amusement park populated by lifelike robots. His calm demeanor provided a perfect counterbalance to Yul Brynner's menacing portrayal of the gunslaying android. The film became a cult classic, earning critical acclaim and box office success. It also foreshadowed a new wave of science fiction storytelling in Hollywood, and Brolin was at its forefront. Continuing his streak, Brolin starred in The Car, 1977, a supernatural thriller about a mysterious driverless black car terrorizing a small town. Though the film received mixed reviews at the time, it later gained a cult following, and Brolin's intense, stoic performance as Sheriff Wade Parent added to his reputation as a versatile and reliable leading man in suspenseful roles. That same year, he took on Capricorn 1, 1978, a political conspiracy thriller in which he played an astronaut forced to fake a Mars landing. The film tapped into Cold War paranoia and distrusting government, and once again, Brolin delivered a grounded, gripping performance that anchored the high-concept narrative. Brolin's cinematic success was matched by his continuing influence in television. In 1983, he took on the lead role in the primetime soap opera Hotel, produced by Aaron Spelling. Set in a luxurious San Francisco hotel, the show allowed Brolin to portray Peter McDermott, a compassionate and principled general manager overseeing both the lives of his staff and the revolving door of dramatic guests. Hotel ran for 5 seasons and was a ratings success, particularly among adult audiences. His work on the show earned him another Golden Globe in 1984 and further cemented his status as a mainstay of American entertainment. Throughout this period, Brolin was also known for his professionalism, dependability, and strong work ethic. Directors admired his ability to balance strength and sensitivity in his characters, often casting him in roles that required a blend of masculine resolve and emotional complexity. Whether portraying a heroic sheriff, a troubled astronaut, or a polished hotel executive, Brolin had a rare ability to make his characters feel authentic, approachable, and dignified. His personal style also contributed to his stardom. Often compared to Hollywood icons like Clint Eastwood and Robert Redford, Brolin stood out for his quiet intensity and understated charisma. He didn't rely on theatrics or scandal to remain relevant. Instead, he let his work speak for itself. This made him especially appealing to a generation of viewers who valued substance over flash. During this peak period, Brolin was even considered for the iconic role of James Bond, and a testament to how highly he was regarded in both American and international cinema circles. Though he ultimately did not take on the role, the consideration alone reflected the industry's confidence in his talent and global appeal. In the height of his fame, James Brolin proved that longevity in Hollywood could be achieved not only through talent, but through discipline, adaptability, and integrity. His peak years were not about a single performance or film, but a body of work that spanned genres, platforms, and emotional ranges. By the early 1980s, Brolin had become more than just a television star or a film actor. He had become a symbol of steady excellence in an industry known for its unpredictability. These years laid the foundation for the second act of his career, one in which he would take on new challenges, explore directing and producing, and eventually reinvent himself once again. But during the 1970s and early 80s, James Brolin stood tall among Hollywood's elite, his star burning bright as a beacon of talent, hard-earned respect, and timeless appeal. Even for a figure as steady and disciplined as James Brolin, the path of a Hollywood career is rarely without its challenges. After reaching the height of fame and acclaim in the 1970s and early 1980s, Brolin entered a period marked by personal and professional turbulence. Like many seasoned actors, he faced the shifting tides of audience tastes, evolving industry standards, and personal struggles that tested his resilience. The era that followed his peak years of Pease was one of reinvention, but not without moments of crisis, missteps, and public controversy. As the 1980s progressed, the entertainment industry underwent a rapid transformation. The rise of blockbuster franchises, the increasing dominance of younger stars, and a shift in storytelling trends meant that many established actors found themselves being passed over for leading roles. Brolin, whose signature stoic style and grounded masculinity had made him a star in the previous decade, suddenly seemed out of step with a Hollywood that was becoming flashier, faster-paced, and increasingly driven by box office numbers rather than character depth. His television success with Hotel came to an end in 1988 when the series was cancelled after 5 seasons. While the show had been a hit during its run, its conclusion marked the beginning of a career lull. Brolin found himself facing a familiar but disheartening reality for many actors of his generation. The roles were fewer, and the quality often less compelling. Offers for major film projects dwindled, and several of the films he did appear in during the late 1980s and early 1990s failed to make a significant impact, either critically or commercially. In addition to career struggles, Brolin's personal life also entered a period of upheaval. His first marriage to casting agent Jane Cameron Agee ended in divorce in 1984 after nearly 2 decades. The divorce was reportedly tumultuous, and the strain of the separation, along with the responsibility of raising his children, including future actor Josh Brolin, added emotional weight to an already uncertain time in his professional life. Tragically, Jane Agee died in a car accident in 1995, just 1 day after their son Josh's 27th birthday. The loss, though occurring after their divorce, deeply affected Brolin and his family. Professionally, Brolin was also caught in a storm of controversy in the early 1990s when he was cast as Ronald Reagan in the 2003 CBS television biopic The Reagans. Though the role came much later, the backlash surrounding the project began during its development. Critics and conservative commentators accused the film of portraying the former president in an unflattering and historically inaccurate light. The controversy became so intense that CBS ultimately pulled the movie from its schedule and shifted it to the cable channel Showtime. While Brolin's performance was praised by some as sensitive and nuanced, others felt he had allowed himself to be part of a politically charged narrative. The experience thrust him into a rare political firestorm, something he had largely avoided throughout his otherwise apolitical career. Meanwhile, his son Josh Brolin's early brushes with the law and reputation for rebellion also drew media attention, sometimes drawing James into uncomfortable public scrutiny as a father. Although James and Josh maintained a close and evolving relationship, the generational tension between a classic, image-conscious Hollywood veteran and his more volatile, free-spirited son became a point of tabloid speculation, further complicating James Brolin's public persona. Despite these crises, Brolin never lost his professionalism or his drive. He continued to work throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, often in supporting roles or guest appearances, and he gradually rebuilt his standing in the industry. His marriage to Barbra Streisand in 1998 brought a new sense of stability and admiration. The union between a Hollywood leading man and a legendary music icon attracted constant media attention, sometimes placing Brolin back in the spotlight for reasons unrelated to his own career. While the relationship was strong and enduring, the couple occasionally found themselves at the center of tabloid gossip, with rumors ranging from political disputes to clashing egos, none of which were ever substantiated. Ultimately, the period of crisis and controversy in James Brolin's life did not define his legacy, but rather enriched it with the complexity and humanity that only time and hardship can provide. His willingness to confront his personal challenges, whether in the form of family difficulties, professional disappointments, or public backlash, with quiet dignity and determination, only deepened the respect he commanded within the industry. Rather than retreating or reinventing himself into something unrecognizable, Brolin chose to endure, adapt, and evolve, In doing so, he proved that true staying power in Hollywood isn't just about maintaining fame, but about navigating the storms of change with grace, grit, and authenticity. His crisis years became not a fall from grace, but a crucible, one that would ultimately prepare him for a powerful and heartfelt resurgence in the years to come. After weathering the storms of career uncertainty, personal loss, and public controversy, James Brolin entered the next phase of his life, not defeated, but reborn. His story is one of enduring talent and emotional resilience, and it proves that reinvention in Hollywood is not reserved solely for the young or the trendy. For Brolin, the path back to relevance was not paved with spectacle, but with subtlety, wisdom, and a renewed commitment to meaningful work and personal growth. One of the key turning points in Brolin's resurgence came not from the screen, but from his heart. In 1996, he met global music icon Barbra Streisand through a blind date arranged by friends. What began as a simple introduction blossomed into a deeply committed relationship that culminated in marriage in 1998. Their union attracted significant media attention, with many headlines focusing on the unexpected pairing of Hollywood royalty from two seemingly different worlds. He, a stoic television and film actor, she, a glamorous and outspoken musical legend. But their bond, built on mutual admiration and emotional honesty, gave Brolin a renewed sense of purpose and personal stability. This relationship, however, did not overshadow his individual ambitions. Instead, it helped steady him during a time when he was quietly rebuilding his career. Brolin embraced supporting roles with depth and character, rather than seeking the spotlight of leading man status. He began appearing in a series of film and television projects where his maturity, gravitas, and nuanced performances were not only welcomed, but celebrated. One notable resurgence moment was his appearance in Steven Soderbergh's Oscar-winning film Traffic 2000, where he played General Ralph Landry. Though the role was not large, it demonstrated Brolin's ability to bring understated authority to any project. That same year, he took on a role in The West Wing, appearing as Governor Robert Ritchie, the Republican challenger to President Bartlet, in a memorable and ideologically charged debate episode. His performance was sharp, calculated, and a reminder of his ability to play complex figures with charisma and edge. In 2003, despite the controversy surrounding the CBS miniseries The Reagans, Brolin received praise from critics for his portrayal of Ronald Reagan. His interpretation was layered, neither overly flattering nor damning, and it revealed his commitment to portraying real-life figures with nuance rather than political bias. The role, while divisive in the public eye, earned him critical respect and re-established him as a serious dramatic actor, unafraid to take risks. Outside of acting, Brolin also embraced his passion for directing and producing. He directed several television episodes and independent projects, finding joy behind the camera in shaping stories with care and craftsmanship. His keen eye for visual storytelling, combined with his decades of on-screen experience, gave his work as a director a sense of empathy and control rarely found in younger filmmakers. As the 2010s unfolded, Brolin continued to stay active and relevant. He joined the cast of the popular television series Life in Pieces, 2015 to 2019, portraying the lovable and quirky patriarch John Short. The show was a commercial and critical success, and Brolin's comedic timing and warmth won over a new generation of viewers who may not have known his earlier work. For many, it was a delightful rediscovery of a seasoned actor with an innate ability to balance heart and humor. In interviews during this period, Brolin often reflected on his journey with humility and insight. He spoke candidly about the ups and downs of fame, the emotional toll of personal losses, and the pride he felt watching his son, Josh Brolin, emerge as one of Hollywood's top-tier actors. Rather than envy or competition, there was admiration. James had paved the road that his son now traveled with success. His resurgence was not defined by a single triumphant moment, but by a mosaic of meaningful contributions, both large and small. Whether playing a supporting role in a major film, lending wisdom to a family comedy series, or directing a quiet television drama, Brolin proved that legacy is built not only in youth, but in longevity, integrity, and continued passion for the craft. James Brolin's return to prominence is more than just a comeback. It's a reinvention that defies the fleeting nature of fame. His journey reveals that success in Hollywood doesn't always follow a straight line. It rises, falls, twists and turns. And for those with patience, talent, and courage to evolve, it can rise again. In the end, James Brolin's story is not simply one of fame, fortune, or failure. It is one of perseverance. From the heights of stardom to the depths of professional challenge and back to a place of renewed purpose, he has become a symbol of the enduring spirit of the artist. His legacy is secure, not only in awards or roles, but in the grace with which he has embraced every phase of life, always ready for the next act. As James Brolin enters the twilight of an extraordinary career that has spanned over 6 decades, his legacy stands as a powerful testament to endurance, transformation, and artistic integrity. Unlike many who have come and gone in the fickle world of entertainment, Brolin's influence has quietly but deeply shaped the landscape of American film and television. Through his work, his character, and his unshakable devotion to the craft, James Brolin's legacy begins with his contributions to television, where he first carved out his identity as a serious performer. His role as Dr. Stephen Kiley in Marcus Welby, M.D., not only won him accolades and awards, but helped redefine the image of the modern television doctor: youthful, principled, empathetic, and progressive. At a time when television dramas were still struggling to establish emotional depth and realism, Brolin helped push the medium forward, just proving that TV could offer complex characters and meaningful stories that resonated with the American public. He continued to elevate television with his lead role in Hotel, where his portrayal of Peter McDermott gave viewers a character who was both polished and human. These portrayals helped set the template for a new kind of leading man on television: strong but sensitive, assertive yet vulnerable. His ability to bring sincerity and dignity to the small screen helped pave the way for the character-driven TV dramas that now dominate the industry. In cinema, Brolin's legacy is built on versatility, from science fiction thrillers like Westworld to disaster films such as Capricorn 1 and supernatural cult classics like The Car. Brolin moved fluidly between genres, never allowing himself to be confined by typecasting. He wasn't just a pretty face or a muscular action star. He was a thinking man's actor, able to embody both authority and inner conflict with authenticity. His choices often reflected a desire to explore uncharted emotional territory, and that risk-taking became a hallmark of his artistic identity. But Brolin's legacy extends far beyond his filmography. His journey, marked by both triumph and adversity, has become a quiet source of inspiration to actors navigating the volatile terrain of Hollywood. For aspiring performers, he represents the value of staying grounded, working hard, and embracing both success and failure with grace. For veterans of the industry, his career arc is a reminder that reinvention is always possible, and that relevance is not merely a product of youth, but of ongoing dedication to truth and performance. As a mentor and father, Brolin's influence is perhaps most visibly seen in his son, Josh Brolin, who has forged his own successful path as a major Hollywood actor. James never imposed his legacy on his son, but rather led by example, offering guidance, encouragement, and a steady presence. Josh has often spoken of his father with admiration, crediting him not just for opening doors, but for teaching him how to stay true to himself in an industry full of illusions. In this way, James Brolin's legacy lives on through the next generation, both in name and in spirit. Brolin's personal life, particularly his enduring marriage to Barbra Streisand, also adds another layer to his legacy. In an industry often characterized by fleeting relationships, their partnership has stood the test of time. Their mutual respect, support, and independence have made them one of Hollywood's most admired couples. To many, Brolin's ability to maintain a strong, loving marriage while continuing his artistic pursuits serves as a model for balance and emotional maturity. Moreover, Brolin has used his platform wisely. While never one to court controversy or crave constant publicity, he has lent his voice to causes and projects he believes in, and he has done so with humility. His influence is not loud or performative. It is steady, like the man himself. In a world often obsessed with spectacle, James Brolin reminds us that substance endures. Today, when audiences revisit his work, From the gripping tension of Capricorn 1 to the charm and warmth of Life in Pieces, they discover an actor who has always brought intelligence, emotional depth, and authenticity to his roles. Casting directors, producers, and fellow actors consistently praise his professionalism, work ethic, and collaborative spirit. His name may not always dominate the headlines, but within the industry, James Brolin is deeply respected as a master of his craft. In the final measure, James Brolin's legacy is defined not by one iconic role, but by a lifetime of meaningful contributions to the art of storytelling. He has shown that greatness in acting is not only about brilliance in performance, tasks, but also about perseverance, humility, and the courage to evolve. His body of work, his family, and the values he has embodied serve as his true legacy, one that will continue to influence and inspire for generations to come. James Brolin may have once been the handsome young doctor on television or the leading man in sci-fi thrillers, but today he stands as something even greater. A symbol of enduring excellence, and a reminder that in a business built on change, character is the greatest achievement of all. Despite a career filled with accolades, a lasting marriage, and the admiration of fans and peers alike, James Brolin's life, like that of any great artist, has not been untouched by tragedy. Beneath the success and the steady presence he has long projected lies a chapter of deep emotional pain that left an indelible mark on his heart. The tragic death of his first wife, Jane Cameron Agee, and the complex, often painful journey of fatherhood that followed. Brolin met Jane Cameron Agee in the early 1960s. A casting agent and former aspiring actress herself, Jane was known for her fiery personality, unfiltered honesty, and creative spirit. Their connection was instant and intense. They married in 1966 after knowing each other for just 12 days. A whirlwind decision fueled by passion and youthful optimism. Together they had 2 children, Jess and Josh Brolin, the latter of whom would go on to become a critically acclaimed actor. Though the early years of their marriage were filled with promise, the relationship gradually became strained. Jane's unpredictable temperament and James's demanding career put pressure on the family, and the couple eventually divorced in 1984 after nearly 2 decades together. The divorce, while civil on the surface, left lingering emotional scars. Still, James remained connected to Jane through their children, particularly Josh, who inherited not only his father's acting talent, but also some of his mother's rebellious fire. Then, in 1995, came the moment that would become the most painful of James Brolin's life. On February 13th, Jane Cameron Agee died in a sudden car accident near her home in Templeton, California, just 1 day after their son Josh's 27th birthday. The news sent shockwaves through the Brolin family and left James reeling with a sense of helplessness and grief. Though they had been divorced for more than a decade, Jane had been a formative part of his life, his youth, and the mother of his children. Her sudden, tragic passing reawakened old emotions, regrets, and the fragility of human connection. For James, the sorrow was twofold, not just the loss of an ex-wife, but the devastating impact on his children. As a father, he had to navigate the raw pain of explaining death and grief to his family, while carrying his own burden of guilt and sadness. He knew that their relationship had been turbulent, that his career had often taken him away from home, and that there had been unresolved tensions between them. The finality of Jane's passing left no room for closure, no opportunity to revisit old conversations or offer reconciliations. That perhaps was the most haunting part of the loss. In later interviews, James has alluded to this difficult period with a quiet solemnity. He rarely speaks at length about Jane's death, not out of avoidance, but out of respect for her, for their history, and for the emotional depth of that time. When he does, there is a visible shift in his demeanor, a rare glimpse into the deeply human vulnerabilities that even decades in front of the camera cannot conceal. The tragedy also brought him closer to his son Josh, who was then grappling with his own demons, including brushes with the law and a tumultuous personal life. In the wake of Jane's death, father and son were forced to face each other as men, shaped by pain, pride, and unspoken love. James offered support not by lecturing or controlling, but by simply showing up, Listening, forgiving, and being present, their bond grew stronger in grief, becoming a source of mutual strength that carried them both forward. Over time, Brolin's sorrow transformed into something more reflective. Rather than letting grief consume him, he used it as a lens through which to understand the importance of relationships, time, and emotional honesty. It made him a more empathetic husband to Barbra Streisand, a more engaged father and grandfather, and a more introspective artist. In many ways, the loss of Jane reminded him of life's impermanence and the sacredness of every personal connection, no matter how flawed or complicated. This chapter of James Brolin's life is not the one that garners headlines or awards, but it may be the most profound. It speaks to the man behind the fame, the husband who married impulsively and tried his best, the father who watched his children hurt and stayed with them through it, the human being who faced unbearable loss and emerged with greater depth, compassion, and understanding. In the narrative of his life, this sorrowful chapter adds an essential layer. It reminds us that even the most composed public figures carry private griefs, and that true strength is found not in avoiding pain, but in enduring it with humility and grace. James Brolin, with all his charm and achievements, is also a man who has loved, lost, and lived through the aching silence that follows. It is perhaps in this quiet sorrow, not in fame or fortune, that we see the fullest expression of his humanity, and that, above all else, is the soul of his legacy.